Hey there, Agile Adventurer. Just a quick question. What if, for the price of a fancy coffee or half a pizza, you could unlock over 700 hours of the best Agile content on the planet? That's audio, video, e-courses, books, presentations, all that you can think of. But you can also join live calls with world-class practitioners and hang out in a flame war-free and AI slop-clean Slack with the sharpest minds in the game. Oh, and yes, you get direct access to me, Vasco, your Scrum Master Toolbox podcast. No, this is not a drill. It's the Scrum Master Toolbox membership. And it's your unfair advantage in the Agile world. So if you want to know more, go check out scrummastertoolbox.org/membership. That's scrummastertoolbox.org/membership. And check out all the goodies we have for you. Do it now. But if you're not doing it now, let's listen to the podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Friday episode, TGIF, and product owner, of course, this week with Alidad Hamidi. Hey, Alidad, welcome back.
Hey, happy Friday.
Happy Friday, everybody. And product owner is always a cool topic to have on a Friday because we're more in a relaxed atmosphere, maybe a little more reflective and open to tackling potentially unresolvable topics because it's weekend coming. So it doesn't matter, right? We can wait until Monday to come back to it. Okay, so let's dive into it. We'll talk about great product owners in a minute. But first, share with us, Alidad, potentially the worst product owner anti-pattern you've witnessed in your career.
I wouldn't say it's the worst. I'll tell you the story, but before I tell that, I think there is of some of my earlier works was when I talk about the three dysfunctions of a Scrum. I said Scrum is a good framework, but it's got three dysfunctions. It's got the product owner as a role, Scrum Master as a role, and the backlog. So if you remove these three from a Scrum, it's a very useful for certain contexts. But with these three, it becomes dysfunctional. But I don't mean it literally. So there is, I probably have to deep dive into what does it mean. But I won't go into that because that's open up a whole different conversation. I would specifically answer your question, but if you're interested, we can explore that other three dysfunctions later. I wouldn't say the worst, but one of the in early days of my career, I had a product owner who was new in the organization and a technical person. Because he was new, he was just being human, by the way. You know, it took me a long time to realize that. Initially, I hated that person, but I kind of learned later that, well, he was just being human and he didn't have the right support and the environment for him. So he was a technical person, joined as a team. It was a clinical, it was a team who was developing a clinical solution for clinicians. And because he was new, he naturally leaned into his strength, which was technical. So every day he was spending whole heaps of time with the team, working with them, which is not a bad thing. Your product owner is also a team member, right? So going into the details, how everything should look like, giving team solutions, not because he was a bad person. I keep telling you, mate, you need to spend more time with our stakeholder. You need to understand their perspective. And result of that was team keep working on stuff. They created value, they delivered it, and some of it halfway through, suddenly product owner come in and say, oh, we really don't need that. Or we delivered it and no one used it, which was even worse, right? So you completely lose track of his job is to understand, not only understand the environment, understand the stakeholder, their need, and look at the trend and kind of come up with that view, but also put the people in front of that environment. He did the opposite, just creating barriers after barriers between the team and the environment, and he wasn't also participating with our stakeholders and our customers. So that was one of the kind of it created a really bad dynamics.
Well, imagine you would see a product owner like this again in a future assignment. Like, what do you think are certain things we could bring to the conversation that would potentially help this product owner understand that even though they are leaning into their strengths and just being human, their effort is being put in a place that doesn't really have a lot of leverage.
Yeah, I think, look, sometimes people have to learn. I wouldn't necessarily say if you see someone is falling into a hole, just let them fall. Or if it's a cliff, I will stop them. But if it's a tiny hole, I'll let them fall in. And sometimes people have to learn, right? But people will only learn if they reflect on it and if they see. So I think uh, number one is when there is a small failure, we will have a reflection on it and then start exploring. Look, you know, here is a situation. You have a team who can create really good solutions, but we also need to understand the problems that we need to solve really well. So I would encourage to facilitate some stakeholder type forum, whether it's in a Scrum, whether it's sprint review or whether it's some prioritization session with the stakeholders, where they actually see what the team is working on. And I want the stakeholders and customer to say that, oh, but that's not what we want. And once the product owner become aware of it and become upset about it, then that's a coaching moment. And that's one of the things I would use.
I think that's a great example of the need for people to do the reflection on their own, right? Like if we bring to them the solution, it's not them figuring out what it means and how it is important. But if we help them once they get the feedback, right? Like, okay, what could we have done differently, right? So we become kind of catalysts of that reflection. Then there's an opportunity for that person to actually get into the learning themselves. And therefore that has a lot more power.
Mm-hmm.
So, and how about great product owners, though, Alidad? Because of course, not only bad product owners exist, also great ones exist. So, talk to us about the best product owner you've ever worked with. How did they work?
There is an irony there. The best product owner I work with was not a product owner, but a project manager, and she didn't realize that she's acting as a product owner. So I was working with a client, and I was brought in to help them adopt agility. So there was this strategic project they were running, and they asked me can you help them deliver faster or something like that? And so I went there, and the first thing I realized is the team was confused about. There wasn't enough alignment about what is it that we're working on, or what's the value that we're creating. So well, look, how about we run an inception? We invite a bunch of our stakeholders and marketing and operation and advisors and the team together, and then we'll just make sure that everyone is aligned with their vision, how we're going to deliver, what's the scope, what's the timeline, all the typical things you do in an inception workshop. 20 minutes into inception, I start asking this question. I said, well, how do we know the customer have this problem and they're going to pay for it if we give them this solution? And no one knew that. And this project manager, to her credit, jump in and say, what do we need to do? I said, well, it's very simple. Let's just run an assumption mapping. We understand the assumptions that need to be true for our solution to actually bear, and then we'll take it from there. Immediately, like 2 days after that, we had our assumption mapping sure. So the entire team was there. The stakeholder was there. She didn't become a proxy. She didn't say, oh, okay, I'm going to go and find out. I'll come back to you. So, all right, cool. Let's just whole team come together. Our stakeholders, representative come. We run the session. And the result of that was they were going to spend a couple of $1 million integrating with some external vendor. They realized that there's huge risk. Number two is customers actually don't want that. Instead of that, they ended up simply developing some educational module and some scripts for the customer support and the advisors. But the beauty of that was he didn't come and say, this is the vision, this is what we're given, this is the budget, and we have to develop it. She said, oh, we need to pivot. And then there was a team that they sat with the advisor, they listened to the customer calls. It wasn't about, I hear it a lot. I said, oh, great product owners have a vision for the product and have a roadmap. We need to have a vision and we need to have a roadmap. By the way, both of them have to be adaptive and shift. But it's not the product owner that need to have that. The product owner can facilitate creation of that. And it's not just product owner or a team. It's the broader stakeholder and customer community that need to co-create that. So that was one of the best examples of a product owner I've seen. That she wasn't actually a product owner, but and you know what happened after going through that, and I was kind of helping them to come up with the discovery practices. She took that in and went across the entire organization and started to teach everyone how to do discovery and completely transform the product development paradigm in that organization. One person.
Absolutely. Great stuff, and a great story that really the product owner is more than a role. It's also a mindset, right? Like it's this being open to discovering. It's accepting that we need to do that discovery and then reacting to it. Alidad, we're close to the end, but before we go, where can people find out more about you and the work that you're doing?
If you want to find me personally, you can look me up in LinkedIn, Alidad Hamidi, easy to find. But if you want to find more about what we do, I'm a co-founder of a company called Desirable Futures. Our website is desirablefutures.group. I have two partners, David Nee and Ross McIntyre. I hope you get a chance to invite them to your podcast as well. Both Ross and Dave, amazing folks. And we are into org design for autonomy and AI, and our practice is very human centric. I think, and this is the paradox of our vision. You know, although we talk about org design for autonomy and AI, but ultimately, I think at the core we are a human centric organization. We're helping organizations to become human centric. We do a lot of work with people that get different, paradigms. Like we work with Hire, a research center for Hire, looking at their operating model. We work with Semco, a style management institute, and Burzag and a bunch of others. So effectively, if you want to organize for self-managing team at a scale, you can reach out to us.
Absolutely. And we'll put the link to LinkedIn and also Desirable Futures Group website
worries.
On the show notes. Alidad, hey, thank you very much. It's been such a pleasure to have these conversations. Thank you for your generosity with your time and your knowledge.
No worries. Let's go. I really enjoy our chat, and thanks for creating this space for learning.
All right. I hope you liked this episode. But before you hit next episode, here's the deal. This podcast is powered by people like you, the members who wanted more than just inspiration. They wanted real tools and real connection to people who are practicing Agile every day. We're talking access to over 700 hours of Agile Gold, CTO level strategy talks, summit keynotes, live workshops, e-courses, deep dive interviews, books, and if you're into no estimates, we got the pioneers of no estimates in those deep dive interviews as well. Agile business intelligence, creating product visions, coaching your product owner courses, you name it. You'll get invites to monthly live Q&As with Agile pioneers and practitioners, plus a private Slack community, which is free of all of that AI slop you see everywhere, and of course, without the flame wars. It's a community of practitioners that want to learn and thrive together. It's the best place to connect with community and learn together. So if this podcast has helped you before, imagine what you will get from this podcast membership. So head on over to scrummastertoolbox.org/membership and join the community that's shaping the future of Agile. And we have so much for you. So check out all the details at scrummastertoolbox.org/membership, because listening is great, it's important, but doing it together, that's next level. I'll see you in the community Slack. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.